like, and you spoke a little bit about it prior to jumping on and recording, and you can speak on it more. The team that you guys have put together, the time and effort, and Suzuki and some factory parts and testing and developing that motorcycle with Larry and the whole Pipes family and the crew over there. Do you think, Kenny, that was it maybe easier is not the word, because it's never easy to win a Supercross championship at 17 rounds, but on a factory level, say Honda or Kawasaki or any one of those teams, did you feel more comfortable in your skin underneath of the Hep Suzuki truck than maybe over at Honda? And was it easier under that platform than being under a factory?
I believe so. Now looking back, having said that, I think anybody can have that. You know what I mean? But everybody has to pull on the same string. And our mentality from the beginning on was we are going to bolt onto the bike whatever is best for the motorcycle, or whatever, what I feel like is best for the motorcycle, that I need to be at my best. And that, we've done that from day one. And I feel like anybody can do it, but it's, again, you need the people that are in that mindset. And like I said, everybody just needs to pull on the same string. And I do believe that just having the team that we were at, it was, let's call it a B team, and at that very moment, I was almost say I was a B rider, because from how good I was, and then where I ended up leaving Honda and then coming there, I wasn't at my best by any means. So I think we found each other all at the right time, and they had nothing to lose. And I mean, I had a lot to lose, I feel like, because I was still trying to hold on to that, like the ideal me in a sense, and I wanted to get back there. But yeah, in the end, I believed in the program, I believed in the bike, I said it from the beginning on. But then you still have to get there, and we talked about it before. Blood, sweat, and tears have gone into that motorcycle, and that's why it feels so home to me, because we have built this from whatever we had, like stock version, whatever the package was, and then we took this whole thing to another level. But man, it all has to work out, right? You have to trust your gut, and it has to work out, because you change one part that feels good and you change another part that can all interfere with each other. So, man, making the right moves, and it's, yeah, I'm glad.
Hey.
I've had the best time over the last few years, I should say, all around, with the stress of getting the motorcycle ride, getting myself back. But then it was so much fun, because the support, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but the support that I got, it just felt like it were all puzzle pieces that got kind of put together. And yeah, we built that.
Hey, so like I never got to work with Larry Brooks, and I know how special he is to you. And obviously, even before he worked with you, Kenny, like he was always on the opposing side as I was always racing against him. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Always had a ton of respect for him. Obviously, I mean, his results speak for themselves. He's worked with some of the best guys ever to race a motorcycle, and championships, all that fun stuff. How did you meet that dude? Like, how did you come about? Like, okay, I want to work with that guy. Was he already there? Did you bring him along?
That all happened at the same time. I had no influence on Larry. So basically, yes, I would say that he was at the team, but he's literally just gotten there. I think they were bitsing their people together and bitsing the program together, because our deal, that just all kind of came out of the left field, right? I still wanted to go ride the bike, because I wanted to leave nothing on the table and give everything a chance, even though I was pretty sure after Paris and how I killed it with Yariv that I had a safe base that I kind of wanted to attend towards. But also, I guess part of the maturing side of things is, hey, do not just, because you don't know until you ride the bike and feel it out, you don't know 100% if that's the right move. So keeping everything open. And funny enough, I told him too, and all of our friends around and the team members, before I knew Larry, you'd see him sometimes from the outside, but he's an intense person at the race. Like he's focused on the task at hand, and he only deals with the people that he really needs to, that is in his immediate working circle. So you kind of see from afar, and it was pretty intimidating. And then we started working together. And one of the coolest freaking things was when I was in Madeira for the first time. We're testing and clutch stuff, and I'm like, hey, clutch this and that. So he puts his hat on backwards, takes my bike off the stand, rides over to the start gate, and just starts ripping starts back and forth. You know what I mean? And I texted my wife, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I've never seen a team manager just do that. That shows you how involved he is, right? So then we kept going, and it was something really, really cool. we started riding the bike, and we did our testing as the championship went on, because it was very late in December, and I barely just got the bike 2 weeks or so before we started racing. So a lot of our testing started happening in these early rounds. And I remember we started going East Coast, and our race was Tampa, and I've already put in a lot of effort, and the team as well. But it was early stages, and here we are the week leading up to Tampa, and I'm riding, team is here testing. Like, there was just something I couldn't let off until I was like, hey, now we have something where I'm like, hey, let me ride it. I can podium, this and that. But it wasn't there yet. I knew what I was looking for, so I'm like, we got to keep grinding. So I was riding till 7:45 p.m., 8 p.m. Tuesday, I think 7 again on a Thursday before the race. And then we had press day on Friday. So we were out there with flashlights, doing clutch stuff, changing out levers and the motor and everything. And it was pitch blackout almost. And I was riding, and I'm riding the track, and I'm like, dude, it's getting gnarly. Like, I can't even really see anymore. It's too dark. Everything started hitting me super fast. So then on Friday we had press day, and we decided to opt out of press day because we had, we were starting to work towards a direction, but we didn't get everything off the table because there was so much to do that we were like, hey, let's skip press day. This is more important. So we went back out to the track, to the sandbox on Friday. That was I don't know if that ended up being day 4 of the week of riding and testing. That was the day before the race. A couple of things, we just want to try a couple of things. And then we know what we kind of got. Well, sure enough, we test those couple of things. And then there's more question marks, things checked off the box, but then there's more question marks. So we kept going and kept going and kept going. And then it was 8 p.m. And I leave the track. I get back home. I eat dinner. I show up to the race on Saturday, and I literally, I'm sitting on the bike at practice, and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm sitting on a dirt bike right now. My hands were bleeding. My butt was raw, you know what I mean? Like shaved, And I'm like, I can't believe that I'm riding a dirt bike right now. But, ended up being a good night. I think I got 5th or 4th, whatever it was. But it's those things where he said, I showed him, and this was natural to me because I didn't plan on just bridging the gap for a year, being with the team, and then go off somewhere else to something better. That wasn't my mentality. Where I was at right there, I'm like, okay, I got to work with what I have here. I'm going to try to build this thing up. And then afterwards, he said, that's where I showed him that I'm for real and I'm not just bridging the gap, and I really wanted to do this. And that's when I started earning his full trust. And then, off we went to better results and everything.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I know a lot to talk, long story of me talking, but there's so much to talk about, so many details that people don't get to see, Yeah,
that's an incredible story. I was always curious, and I don't know why I've never asked you, but that makes sense. Like, you went there, and because I would, like, we've known each other for a long time, and I don't ever really remember, like you mentioning anything about him, but so he was already there, and then that's cool.
And at the race, I feel like he gave me the support that I needed. I'm not a person, it goes both ways, I guess. I'm not a person that needs a kick in the ass to go handle stuff or whatever, because I'm super self-driven when it comes to that. So the support that he gave me, and whether I was showing discomfort or whatever, he almost became a father figure. Age-wise too, it lines up with my dad, and there was just something that worked out from my dad back in the day, and he just gave me just a ride every weekend. It wasn't always about going crazy and you got to do it. There was just a way to go about it, and it ended up, I don't know, we were thriving together in every single weekend, and we built it into that over weekend and weekend and weekend, and it just became more and more special, and our bond grew tighter and tighter with that.
And I think the crazy, okay, you have 2 different styles of team managers, right? You have ones that kind of balance the checkbook, that are the team manager, that run the team, that know a lot about motorcycles and a lot of maybe certain changes and things like that. But when I look at Larry, because Larry was with L&M when I raced James, and I was always like RC, right? Like racing against Larry.
Yeah, he was MC's guy, he was Reedy's guy, like all of my main competitors. Like that, I was always on the other side.
You're 100% right, because he is so hands-on. So when we get down to the gate, Billy and me, obviously, but then Larry, he is more of a coach than anything else.
So
and it was unforced. It wasn't forced on me or anything planned. It ended up growing into that. And I think that's truly what Larry enjoys the absolute most out of the sport. Obviously tinkering with the bike, but I think that bond with the rider and doing this thing together. And then when we get down to the gate, where we start, what we need to do, there's just a plan that is always made, and then of course we execute it at the same time. So you don't know it at first, but now looking back over all of these races, it just grew into this thing where we sat together before and we looked at the gates and inside, okay, what happens if this, if we don't get a good jump? Like, I don't know. There's just so many things. And previously there were other people down there, not really the team manager. I don't know. I've never had a team manager as involved like that,
Mm-hmm. And I think, the knowledge that Larry brings, like you said, he
Yes.
jumps on the bike, throws his hat on backwards. He wants to feel what you were just explaining about the clutch or whatever it was. And Larry goes out and rips starts. Same thing going down. And he's so knowledgeable about obviously the team manager position, but also as like a coach, like he used to ride back in the day. And I think like I said, there's two different styles. There's like more of the check and balancers, team managers. And then you have guys like Larry that have been in the sport for so long, that are so knowledgeable about just even race strategy, where to start, because, like MC, Chad, James, all of those guys that he got to work with in the past. And now he's working with you. Like, I think it's got to be comforting for you to be able to lean on the head honcho, but also that has so much race experience, right? That you can lean on in those tough positions.
And most importantly, to me, it is so much fun because when we test here at the Sandbox, luckily, Dave Dye too, and Twisted Development, they're 10 feet away on the other side of the building. And when we're all there, like whether we open up the motor, whatever parts we test, same with suspension, like I walk over to the motor area and I feel the parts and I look at them and we explain and I give my theory of what this should do. And I'm just looking at them, feeling so like the involvement with all of that, like me looking at the parts. And like we talked about, when I always ask what we change, or at least afterwards, so I can build myself a picture what is theoretically doing, but then also when I'm riding it, what the actual feel is. Because down the road, if you're at a race or whatever you are, if you want to change a clamsham in the fork or whatever, you have an idea of what this gives you and then make the call. Like if you have two options, like, the clamsham is the way to go or not, there's all pistons, whatever it is. So we have all just always done the planning of the motorcycle together, and my heavy involvement with it, it's so much fun. And I think ultimately that's where all the good results come from too, because you just feel a lot more in tune and you feel a lot more engaged with what you're doing, instead of just sitting back and I don't know, you just ride whatever they build and off you go.
And I think a lot of that, Kenny, though, is what's number one thing that's so special about it is, I think if you would have, I can use myself as an example. Like I was into the testing stuff, but I was 26, 27 years old at Ken Roczen at 26, 27 years old. Probably wasn't as involved or as much as in tune with what these parts do. But at 32, winning the championship and going down that road that you guys have done, like it becomes way more fun, I think, at your age to then, because you understand and you've been around the sport for so long now, you understand, okay, this part kind of does this, and you're wanting to learn what those parts do. I'm kind of doing that with my kids now, right? Like on 65s, but I never got to do that at age 30 because I retired at 20, just had turned 20. And so my brain wasn't there when it comes to like, I would just, this is what we're going to do. They build suspension. Okay. I'd kind of get a little bit of a rundown and I was involved, but nothing like what you're saying. But at 32, I think I would have been involved because, that stuff's intriguing and you want to learn about it at that age. At 26, you wouldn't have probably wanted to be that involved.
It started for me years ago because, I had to come to Suzuki with quite a bit of knowledge to at least have an idea and try things depending on what the problem was. It could have been that the engine felt heavy, the handling isn't that great. What do we change with that? So I've always been pretty interested in those things. But having said that, 4 years, 5 years down the road, you can't buy that experience. You can't buy that knowledge. It goes the same with suspension guys. As somebody that does this for 3 years or whatever, you can't buy the being there and doing it. So now 5 years later, because I had to trust my gut, then it had to be right. And now after all of these years, it strengthens our decisions even more and gives you more confidence that we did all the right things, obviously because we had the results. But yeah, it's really fun at this age to think deep. And honestly, now I've left my bike alone for so long. Over these last at least year and a half, I've ridden the same suspension setting. We have been tinkering with clutch and everything. But now, I've steered clear of all the testing stuff because I feel like I've done my part. And I was sure that, hey, I know my motorcycle really well. I'm doing really good. And even in the off season, like I was already not peaking, but like I was on a very good way that I'm set. Don't freak out. Track's hard pack, track's tacky, track's muddy. I've put it on so many different types of soil that I had the confidence that, hey, no matter where I go, I don't have to flip everything upside down. And if I struggle with something ever so slightly, I can be the bigger person to make the adjustment to the track and not deal with a tough track, whether it's ruddy or hard pack, but then also changing suspension. And then you kind of focus on two things instead of me just racing and focusing at the task at hand. And it's incredible. So much fun.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, you can get a whole lot more. Yes, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You get all the news, highlights, reviews, the whole lot. So go for it.